Welcome everybody on today's Expert Talks insert. Next to us, we are humbled and so blessed by just his energy, his power, and the ability to control the room. We've got Dr. Dreyer. He is a doctor in finance. He is an author, a motivational speaker, a money-making machine, a loving father, and a loving grandfather. Just an alpha male of note. We are so privileged to have him on the show. Next to me, as always, Anne-Marie Meyer and the man of the hour, Dr. Hannes. How are you, sir?
I'm great, and thanks for that introduction. I feel good about that, myself, and about the environment, and about everything. So thank you for that.
It's a pleasure, sir. Everything that I said is true, and I mean it from my heart. And thank you for sharing your time with us once again. We've had you on the show before, and that particular episode created so much comments and back and forward. It was amazing, and I can't wait to get, because you don't throw golden nuggets at us, you throw golden bricks at us. So I'm ready for all the golden bricks, and I'm sure everybody on the show is as well. So thank you.
My pleasure.
Extremely excited.
I can't wait. I'm fidgeting. So, off camera, we're having a discussion around. We are getting at an age where we interact with more and more people that are either just retired, about to retire, or have been retired for a couple of years. And the common denominator, the common theme is, to put it in plain forward English, it's unaffordable. It's unaffordable to retire. They don't have the means to maintain a lifestyle that they enjoyed with their family whilst having a monthly income. And it's heartbreaking for me, because I think you work so hard and for so long to be able to enjoy the pleasures of life at your later years, rather than I need to sell my house and move into a one-bedroom bachelor's flat to be able to afford food, and so on and so on. My question that I'm going to pose to you, sir, is it a person problem or is it a system problem?
The answer is actually both.
Both.
It's both. And maybe I'm going to explain that quickly.
Okay.
So retirement, when we look at retirement, we look at, normally people associate that with a very long term. We start at 20 and then we retire at 65 or whatever the age. So it boils down to one thing, and that is your investment. If you don't understand what investment is, you're going to run into all sorts of problems. So as a person, you've got the responsibility to make sure that you understand, as well as that you understand what the system is. It's obvious, we're all in the system. So it's our responsibility to see what the system is doing with us. The evidence is there. If you look at how many people can really afford a decent retirement, it's going to be less than 5%. If you look at those people that can really enjoy their retirement or financial freedom, it's less than 1%. So the evidence is there. Something is broken. Something is not working. Now, unless we're going to make sure that we understand how the system operates, the system is a risk, but it's an open risk. Everyone should know about it. But it hides itself because the system cannot operate without the way that it's structured, or the current systems. So when we start looking at this, you're going to find that there's a financial system, there's a political system, there's the educational system. And these three, with the others, are working towards exactly the same thing, and that is to enslave you as a person. Their job is to enslave you for the rest of your life, because that is where they're going to suck your energy. They're not after your money. That's free for them. But the moment that they can get your energy, now you become the slave of the system. So the moment that you're a slave of a system, a slave is basically a person that expands energy, but for no compensation. There's no compensation. In other words, what you do, you think you're getting ahead in life, but the system is against you. And because you don't understand how the system operates, there's no ways that you'll ever get out of the system, because the people that we see as experts are conditioned by the system to sell the system.
Wow.
And this is not the first time that we've heard this, of course, in just different words. But someone else mentioned this in very similar way the other day, that our system is built like you're a slave in this sense. You just keep on working, and by the time you need to retire, they're basically just waiting for you to pass away now, because they don't want to. They're not going to provide for you.
But on that, the experts in the field are trained by the system to brainwash you and continue on the path. So they're selling you the slavery mentality, if I can say.
100%. But they don't know it. You see, this is where the trick comes in. I've been in that system. I've been a certified financial planner. And it's only in 1987 when I realized, but this is nonsense. I'll never get ahead if I'm following what they teach me. And they teach me how to sell products.
Because they work for the system.
They're part of the system. But the people in the management and even senior management does not understand how the system operates. So if you go to graduates like MBAs and CAs and MBAs and MBLs and those people, we think that they should know how it works because we're going to go to them like brokers for advice. But the moment that you go to that person is conditioned. He knows everything about the law. He knows everything about the product. He's accredited to sell certain products. But then at the end of the day, he does not know how to turn 100 Rand into millions.
He doesn't.
Because no one is going to teach him the skill. Because the moment that he understands the system, he will acquire the skills. Because you have to identify the risk within the system before you can do something to get out of the system. So it's bad, and it's around the world. So there's a very small group of people that control the masses. And what you think is average is not average. Because the outliers are so high above the rest of the normal that when you look at average, the average person will suffer. You can't be average in today's society if you think that you're going to retire. And therefore, a lot of people think, but I can go on retirement. Only to find out there's no ways that they can retire. And then what they do is they lower their standard of living.
Yes.
Because now they have to justify why they haven't taken the responsibility at any stage in their lives to find out the truth.
So in actual fact, if I can just shift the conversation slightly, this is not a conversation that is aimed at people that are retired, just retired, or about to retire. This is for the 18-year-old to the point of retirement. It includes them. So in your expert opinion, or how does a person in their 20s just take a step back and say, okay, Dr. Hannes, how do I shift my perspective? Because it makes sense. The people that are average today are going to suffer. The people that I spoke of in the beginning of the interview is people that had a good job, a stable job, worked at a place for 35, 40 years. They've got the pension fund that they paid into an account. But that person is moving out of a 3-bedroom house into a bachelor's flat, buying their last car. And for me, it's sad that at 60, you're buying your last car. At 60, you should be excited. Like, what am I going to drive? I'm going to have another 5, in my opinion, because I see that person as a customer that now has financial freedom and can make choices and moves.
But so, every customer that walks in at that age
buying
says,
their last car.
This is my last car. And that is, it's sad to realize that is the way we think.
But you justify, on your point, you justify the point that I didn't make sound decisions. That's why I have to downgrade in lifestyle, which is a big fail in my opinion. So how does a young person, have a helicopter view and say, okay, Dr. Hannes, how should I look at investment? How should I look at the 3 systems, which is the political, the financial, and the education system? What perspective should we take to get out of average? Because average is failing.
Bobby, it's actually very simple. Everything that you've learned at school, everything that you've learned through the educational system, right, is based on lies. They have to lie to you in order to keep you in the system. The problem is it starts actually at a very, very young age. It starts before you, the age of 7. So they have to get you into the system. The way that they indoctrinate, people don't understand how the mind operates. So the mind, you get the conscious and the subconscious. There's the unconscious part as well. The subconscious is where the frontal cortex, in other words, that's the decision making, that's the CEO. It controls the whole, it controls you. The problem is before the age of 7, you do not know the function and how to use it. So if they can get you before the age of 7, you're on auto drive, because subconsciously, all that information sucks through subconsciously. Subconsciously, your emotional side, there's a link that makes it. In other words, emotion, there's hormones and stuff that gets into your body. There's a resistor within your body. Now you believe that to be the truth, and it's on an energetic level. So on an energetic level, you believe that this is the truth. There's not enough. It's scarce. Money is difficult to make. So the moment that, and you pick that up through your parents' behavior,
Yes.
where they say, I don't know where I'm going to get the money. It's difficult, it's hard, blah, 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 the whole story. But you don't register it. In other words, to you, it's a blind spot. But the moment that that thing is there, now you've got a reticular activated system. The reticular activated system's job, the moment that you start getting a conscious process, is to keep you in your comfort zone. In other words, to keep you safe. That's the way that it sees. So it's going to distort, delete, generalize, and add information to link up with that you believe. But that belief system wasn't your belief system. It was programmed deliberately, intentionally by someone else to keep you enslaved. And I've picked up already, you refer to people in a job, they retire. I retired at 37. I was financially independent at 37. At 42, Tanya said to me, go and teach. You can't sit at home doing nothing. Best decision that I've ever made in my life. Because now this is my passion. And I didn't know my purpose at that point in time. So there are 4 levels of freedom. There's financial freedom, time freedom, the freedom of choice, and purpose freedom. And it's only when you start operating from your purpose freedom that you can understand why are we on this planet Earth. Up to then, you are too busy to survive. You are too busy to survive. So, and that is a problem. So as long as you're too busy to survive, you can't think. In other words, you can't use the 6 higher faculties of the mind in order to rationally figure out, but what the hell is going on in the system? Because if you don't know what's going on in the system and they keep you there, you're going to do what everyone tells you to do. And they all speak the same language. They all do the same because they want your energy. They suck your energy out.
And this is exactly what I said off camera. Even I'm doing it.
Now, what about the great news is there's an easy solution, very easy solution, but it's not that easy because you have to take responsibility, right? And you have to take that responsibility actually at a very young age while you're still at school. You can't start at 60. Although I've got students that at 60 start and 65, a total different story. But they first have to understand. And the problem is to unlearn this nonsense that we've been, that is where the problem is not to understand new information. Because if there's nothing and there's a new neuron path that needs to follow and that's quick. The problem is to get rid of the metaphysical programs, the belief systems that is running within us.
Like your software that you're operating on currently.
That software is totally corrupt by the system, and therefore you think this is the way that it should be. So what about we make this, let's call it more practical?
Yes, please.
And let me show you how the system operates. Now, this is not for everyone. You don't have to believe a word that I'm saying. There's enough Google to go and do the searches if you like to do that. But what's the first thing when you start to work after you've got a car that the system tells you to go and do? From a great investment point of view.
Buy a property.
Buy your first house.
Buy your first house.
Yes, sir.
Let's take, you've both got your own house.
Yes, sir.
Right. Bonds on the house?
Yes, sir.
Yes.
Right. There we go. Now I'm getting excited.
Now I'm getting scared.
And we in trouble.
I'm here to rattle you. You see, we don't understand the system. Remember, it's about energy. It's not about the money. It's about energy.
Yes.
And they have to keep you in that system for the rest of your life,
To suck your energy.
even after retirement, to suck you dry and to keep you in the system.
Because they need to make money as well.
Well, they need your energy. It's not, they don't need money, my friend. They've got billions, they've
They
got
can print
trillions,
more.
and they control trillions even more. So they don't need money. They want your energy. And people miss this. We exchange energy for money. That's why you work for certain hours. In exchange for that, you are being paid. Right. Now, let's take a person. He earns 30,000 Rand per month. He rents 5,000 Rand per month. 6,000 Rand per month. I'm going to try to keep the sums easy for myself because otherwise I'm going to get stuck here
This
in
is
the process.
this is you being a gentleman. You're keeping the sums easy for us. So you're a walking, talking calculator. But thank you for keeping the sums easy for
Easy for
us.
us.
Thank you.
Okay, and I
Because
want
we're
you to
in
follow
trouble
me.
now.
More or less, we're not going to we're not auditors, we're just going to get with the flow.
We're not auditors. You are.
I'm not an auditor, by the way. Right. I want to better my life. And I've heard the story that you should get your house. So I'm renting at the moment. I want to buy a house. In order to buy that house, I decide, okay, I'm going to hop, skip, and jump to another opportunity that's going to pay me more, or I'm going to improve myself. And let's assume that this guy finds a job 10,000 Rand more than what he's earning at the moment. In
Now
other
he's
words,
at 40.
from 30 to 40,000.
Okay.
So the moment that he gets that contract, now I can go and buy the house. So he goes to an expert, they calculate, or you can go to Uber or any one of those bond originators, put in the figures and say, okay, I can qualify for 10,000 Rand at 10.75%, I can buy a house of 985,000 Rand. But we are conditioned, you buy the house, all cost, everything should be included. In other words, I don't want to put down a deposit.
Yes.
My first house. Now I've got a house. Within a month, this guy runs into a problem because as a tenant, you do not have to pay rates and taxes, right?
Yes.
Now, or levies. Now suddenly as a landlord, you have to pay it. Say it's 1,450.
Yes.
So now it's actually 10,140 that he has to earn additional to keep his standard of living and to have investment which he believes is going to help him to retire.
And maintain his standard. That's a very important
Maintain
point.
his standard of living. Because he's got now he's got two choices.
Yes.
The moment that happens, he says, okay, I've made a little error, mate. I have to tap into my standard of living with 1,450 because I did not make provision for that.
Correct.
Right. So that's why if you work it up and you deliberately say, this is what I'm going to do, that's your goal, then you'll understand the process. But most people scale down and they start getting into this rat race where they have to do more and more for less and less. I'm going to explain this to you. But now a second problem arises because you as the owner have to do a deduction. But this guy is earning 10,000 Rand more than he used to. So you're going to deduct more tax. So now it's not 10,000, it's minus 1,450 minus the tax.
Yes.
So now luckily this guy works for you on a commission. So he says, no problem, I'm going to sort this out. I'm going to work harder. I'm going to expand more energy. I'm going to up my skills, blah, blah, blah. So here's a question. How much harder must he work in order to get a net effect of 11,450 Rand?
Probably twice, 3 times harder.
Luckily not that much.
Not that much? Okay.
He has to go to about 46,800 Rand per month.
But that jump, if he's
So
in a
it's
position
6.
where he's already pushing himself quite hard, it's very hard to do.
Well, now he's in what we call the scene of complexity. In other words, the risk factor now, in order to maintain that, now the pressure is on. Okay,
Big time.
serious. We call
Big
that
time.
the rat race. So the moment that happens, after he pays, now he pays 5,000 Rand more or less more tax per month.
Yes.
Right. Plus the 1,450, so it's 6,000 Rand more. So he's earning 16,000 Rand more. Just take the 16,000 Rand because otherwise we're going to get confused here. Now check here. 16,000 Rand, I bought the house knowing that it's investment because everyone tells you it's a great investment. So when is it investment? It's when you sell the house so that you can see is it a positive or negative in terms of the energy that I've expanded. So the energy that you are expanding is 16,800 more
Per month.
per month,
Yes, every month.
every month.
For 20 years.
Okay, let's take it over 5 years.
Over 5 years.
5
okay.
years, that gives you about R1,000,000 more. Now, you've bought a house. You've got this house. Now I'm selling that house. We go back and we look at, but what's the growth on property in South Africa on the average in that house, in the price bracket,
It's
over
not
the last 5
100%.
years?
It's not 100%, sir.
It's less than 4%.
But
You can go and have a look at the stats.
But you're expanding energy as if you're going to create 100% more value over 5 years, and you're not.
Well, you can't, because that 985,000 Rand house will now sell for about 1.2 million. But now there's another snag, because a part of that system is who's going to sell that property for you, because you are so busy trying to make a living, you can't sell your own property. You're going to get a estate agent. 7% gone, plus VAT. The VAT is another system that we don't understand. So it's 7%. Now, when you look at the settlement, you're going to find that you started at 985 because everything was included. It's going to be about 900,000 still outstanding. Right? So you've made a couple of rand. You've earned in energy 1 million. You sell this property, minus the estate agent, and now plus the tax situation. If you take 5,000 Rand times 5 years, 60 months, it's 300,000 Rand additional that you. Now that 300,000 goes to a system.
Yes.
That did not work a cent for that money. It was your energy.
You expanded the energy.
You expanded the energy. 300,000 netto, just there. Right. Now check what happens here. These guys, you sell for 1.2 million. Let's take it, it's $1 million bond. In 5 years' time, you sell, you have to settle the bond. What's your capital? It's less than 100,000. Another 500,
Gone.
just there, gone. Plus, there's about 80 to 90,000 Rand for the estate agent, gone. Right. So if you do that calculation, you're going to find that I keep out of this property for myself about 200,000, 222,000 Rand. This is my money. But I've expanded $1 million Rands worth of effort in order to get it. So I'm down. This system has robbed me with 800,000 Rand. And you know what? People are too funny. I don't want to use another word. They are not prepared to query the system because everyone tells them how it works. And they think, but this is a way, and I know, I've got a fucking degree. It's the most idiotic thing that a person, because the more degrees you've got, the stupider some people become.
Yes.
Because they think, I know how the system operates. Because they've never learned the most important skill in the world, and that's the skill to think. They don't know how to use the 6 higher faculties of the mind to figure this out. So, here we sit in this situation. Now, is it better to rent or is it better to buy? Well, I can prove to you in this case that it's going to be better to rent, pay the tax, save the rest of the money, because you'll have a lot more money in 5 years' time, because that is when you measure to see if it's investment. How much money do you have for the amount of money that you've put in? Right. So it's far better for the average person. Plus, you're going to be 10 times better off by not taking that promotion, by not putting 16,000 Rand, and stay on your current standard of living.
Yeah.
Because you've expanded 16,000 Rand to lose 800,000 Rand or to lose 500,000. If you did not that, you could spend time with your family, you could spend time with your friends, you could spend time holiday, you could spend time learning new hobbies, you could... Are you beginning to understand? In other words, now you do not, because that additional 16,000, that is what's going to kill you, because that is where the stress comes in, because you have to perform the whole time. And the moment that you do not perform, you're at risk.
Yeah.
Now, let me ask you a question. You buy that house. It's very nice. Whose house is it?
The bank.
Ah, it's the bank's house.
Yes.
Why?
The name.
Because they register in your name, but the bank keeps the title deed. So it belongs to the bank.
Yes, sir.
Let me ask you another question. When that house is paid in full, you've got the title deed. Whose house is it now?
It's your house.
No, it's not your house. Stop paying rates and taxes. Stop paying your levies.
Part
and-
of another system. It's the system's house. You're right.
The system has conditioned you to believe that this stupid, idiotic thing that you must have a house.
It's not your house.
It's not in your house.
It's not.
And the moment that you get it in,
You're
now you
renting the house.
understand that if I buy a house, it has to be an investment. If it's not an investment, why the hell do you want to buy a house? It makes no sense. But try this in this program, in the comment section, when people are going to comment, see how many people are going to say, this is bullshit, your house is the best investment. They've never done the sums. They've never done a sum in their lives. Because you can't lie on a sum.
Data doesn't lie.
Data doesn't lie.
It's that stupid.
But eventually, when you in a position where the property is paid off, and it is now the system's property, you pay rates and taxes.
Yeah.
That is a bit cheaper.
Can I give an opinion on that?
I'm asking.
So I want to try.
Yeah, go for it.
You know, from the not golden
We're not
bricks,
gonna sell
we got thrown with golden houses here. Here's when that house is an investment. If you
Rent it out.
rent it out for for the sake of sums, let's say the R1 million house, if your rates and taxes are 1,500 rand, and you can rent that house for 10,000 rand, and use that 8,500 rand positive income towards another property, is it then an investment?
No, it's not an investment.
Not yet.
Let me tell you why it's not an investment, because you haven't done the sum. So now we try to think, we use our imagination to make a story for ourselves. Unless you do the calculation, there's no ways to see if investment is investment or is not investment. And now here comes the trick. Can I give you a couple of tricks? You see, when I start off in your career, this young man, he needs to say, okay, there's a wealth creator strategy. I'm going to come back to that later because that's a solution. You have to say, okay, but where do I want to be? When do I want to be there? What do I need to be there in 5 years' time? Now you calculate that back and you say, what do I have now available? I've got 1,000, 2,000, 5,000 rand. So then you calculate and you say, okay, but how hard must this money work for me in order to be able to get there? Say it's 60 or 80% or 100%. That becomes your financial freedom growth rate. Now for the first time in your life, you've got a target. I guarantee you, up to now, you did not have a target. None of you.
No.
Because no one taught you the most essential part of investments. The second part of investment, once I know, now I can compare that. I've got a benchmark. Say, for example, it's 100%. I've got a benchmark. Anything that I do, anything that I buy, anything that I invest in, if it's not more than 100%, I'm wasting my time. I'm wasting my energy, and I should not invest in that. I should rather keep that and do nothing. Now, of course, if you're in a conventional system, it's better to go to experts and get their advice than to do nothing. But from a wealth creator's point of view, it's far better and sit and wait and get the knowledge and take the responsibility and find that property and twist that property, because the property's got 27 variables. Now, what is a variable? A variable is actually a risk. So what is risk? Risk is if you do not know what you're doing. That's a risk.
Then it's a risk, yes.
Then it's a risk. Otherwise it's not a risk. So if I identify a risk and I know how to offset that risk or how to handle that risk in the event that I've got no tenant in my place or the interest rate goes up to 24%.
No, please don't do that.
Well, I hope that he's going to do that, because that's where we bought our biggest bargains.
Yes.
Right.
When the blood is in the streets, walk slowly towards where it's coming from. Yes.
Okay, so here's the thing. I want that if I understand that risk,
yes,
suddenly it's not a risk anymore. And it's not going to affect the outcome that I'm after. So that is the process. Now, I'd like to come back, because I don't think you are getting the system. You go, you earn this additional money, you go to the bank. You say, I want to borrow $1 million. I've got a nice job. They ask your ID number, they check your credit score, you guys do it. And then they see, okay, you qualify for this 10,000 rand bond. Why do they need your payslip? Because they know you're part of the system. Why do they need your ID? To check if you are part of the system. In other words, they're going to steal your future from you without you knowing it. Today. Now check here. The bank needs to give you and loan you $1 million. Do the banks have the million?
The banks don't. They borrow it from a reserve bank. Let's say, for example, Absa gets the money from the reserve bank. That
We
prints
call it the
money.
repo rate.
The repo rate, yes.
Now, we call it a fiat reserve currency. Fiat means by trust. In other words, there is no such thing as money. It's a man-made concept. It's got no intrinsic value. It's based on nothing solid that you can fall back.
Except trust. And how do they
And
calculate
the trust is being manipulated by them.
By the system.
By the system. Now check here. They go to the reserve bank. If they haven't got the money in reserve, they have to borrow it, but they only borrow in South Africa about 5 to 10% of the money from the reserve bank at the repo rate. Because at the fractional system, they can gear this up by 90%. In America, there's no reserve currently from March last year. No reserve. In other words, they can go and if you bring 10 Rand to the bank and they've got that as reserve, they can give you $5 billion. In South Africa, I think we're at 5% at the moment. That they can gear up. In other words, take it down, take it 10%. In other words, the money you bring in 100,000. If you bring in 100,000 and this guy wants to borrow $1 million, they only have to secure. Now, if you bring in the 100, they can lend out $1 million.
Okay, I got it
Because
now.
they've got 100,000 in reserve. They can, and that money they do not have to go to the repo rate and ask for the reserve bank because they've got permission by government.
Based on trust.
Based on a bullshit.
Yes.
Right. Now, you buy that property. So they created that property out of thin air, the money.
Uncle Hannes, sorry, I don't want, because it flew over my head. So in South Africa, we can borrow based on 10%.
I think it's 10%.
Roughly.
Yeah.
In America, there's
Zero.
no cap.
From last year, March, no cap, no reserve.
That's scary.
None. That's why those people are busy running. Now, America sits in a total different situation than South Africa. Because the dollar is the reserve currency. America cannot go bankrupt. They cannot go bankrupt. All they have to do is to print more money. They print themselves out of the shit.
But based on what? What stands
Nothing.
surety for that?
Nothing. We idiots. Because we don't query that. And we say, we voted those people in power. We the public. Irrespective of what country you are. But we don't understand the system. And we don't understand that those guys manipulate those, it's peons. We don't understand the system.
That's the difference between the average and the elite. That you just
Well, the
mentioned.
elite has got the knowledge and they use that knowledge. The average person goes to what average people are teaching them. And the average is not a good place to be in, my friend.
No.
Mediocrity is the worst enemy of a civilization that wants to go ahead. So now suddenly you're sitting in this, but now guess what they do? They're going to suck you dry out of nothing because you have to pay 10.75% interest
Compounded interest.
on nothing.
On nothing.
That comes from you. Now they create another thing to steal from you legally. Big time. We call it inflation. Because they are in control of the printing of the money. They control demand and supply. It's if you do not understand the system, Bobby, or anyone, you are fucked.
That's the best word that you could use. Because, like you said, another way to steal is inflation. If somebody is in control of printing the money and we overprint, we just manipulate it with inflation. We just bring it back. Sorry, we just raise the inflation a little bit.
Because
put up the rates a
then
little
you
bit.
borrow a lot of money from the IMF and now you have to pay it back, but you pay it back with bad money because of the inflation.
Yes.
You pay back a lot less. So if you've got 200,000 Rand here at 6% inflation in 5 years' time, it's about 150, 160,000. So if you take that in today's value, you're going to find that it's not 222. But we all do the calculation. Oh, I've got 222,000 that I can put on as a deposit on my next property. And now you're back into the rat race because your salary has doubled. You can qualify for a double bond. You take 200,000 rand, you think, flippin', I'm ahead in life, and you start the process all over again.
One more time.
And now at 60, you see, flip, I need to retire, I need to get my pension, I need to take the third to settle my bond. And then you say, okay, I'm going to do that, and then 5 years later, but I need to sell my house in order to get something smaller. And then 5 years later, now I'm eating into my capital, and I don't know, how's it? Because I've done everything that I was supposed to do right throughout my life, but I'm battling. So, to come back, the responsibility is yours, and it stays yours for the rest of your life. But the system has set it up so that you do not know and don't want to take responsibility. Because the moment that I earn my money and I give it to anyone else, I'm taking 100% risk.
Yes.
It's my money. It's my time, it's my effort, it's my blood, sweat and tears to make that money. Right? So now, the moment that I hand it over, now these clever people will come and say, do a risk profile. You know, put a little bit here, put a little bit there, put a little bit there. Don't take too high risk, and if you take the risk, diversify.
But
why?
It's already a risk giving it away, 100% risk.
You can't take more than 100% risk.
Yeah.
Because the moment that you take that risk, now I've got the responsibility and I can learn the skills to offset the risk. But if I'm giving my money to someone else, I cannot manage the risk. I cannot learn the skills.
Out of your control.
It's out of my control. Plus, I've got no control over the growth on my money. I've got no control over. Now we think we've got control because we're giving the money. So what do these oaks do normally? They say, okay, we thought that we would get a 15%, but this fund is not performing. It's giving you a negative. Why don't we move your money from here
that we've lost you
to there? Because otherwise we're going to keep on, because remember, the reptilian brain is there to protect you. So it's going to say, flip it, okay, move the money. Someone is making more money. Now they say, no, take it overseas. The moment that you move it overseas, someone's taking the money. Now they say, bring it back. Because every time that you touch that money, what you think you've got control, someone is busy conniving and eating you like a lemon, my friend. Not a lemon, an orange.
In fees or in charges or in bad performance on a certain...
If the unit trust, there's 1,700 plus unit trust the last time that I checked. The average is less than 5% growth.
With a 6% inflation.
With a 6% inflation. And yet these people say, no, don't take your money out of this fund because then you're going to lose. Because we are conditioned not to lose. Sometimes it's far better to say, in 87 I said, I cancel all my policies, I cancel all my endowment policies, I wrote those bloody policies myself. All my retirement annuities, I'm walking away from the system. I'm not part of this bloody system. While I was getting one of the highest financial degrees that you can get in South Africa. And everyone told me, you're mad, you're crazy. Do you think that you know better than so-and-so? Well, obviously, I did know something about that a lot of other people, because they never thought. I failed my matric. I'm so bloody blessed to have failed it, because I didn't trust those bloody teachers. Why the hell must I learn something that I'll never use in my life? It made no sense to me. Are you beginning to get the story?
Yes.
So there's two systems.
I'm loving your energy, sir.
Really?
Passion.
Full-heartedly.
Absolutely.
Full-heartedly.
You see, there are two systems. Now, let's get back to what's the way out.
Yes.
Now, unfortunately, very few people are going to do this, because it means responsibility, it means more time, it means more effort, means they have to change their mindset, it means they have to dig to find the truth, because the truth you're not going to find in Google, because they manipulate what they're going to show you. The same with Facebook, the same with YouTube. It's hidden knowledge, it's occult knowledge. Occult knowledge means hidden knowledge. It's not what we think occult means, it's hidden knowledge. So, what they then are going to do is, how do I hide this knowledge so that these people never understand it? The only way for you to understand is to tap into your inner self, to understand who you are. In other words, everything starts with the mental skill sets. And they don't teach these mental skill sets to us. They don't teach us how to tap into the higher faculties. No one. Not in the educational system. No one does it. Because they do not want you to understand how great you are and what's your potential. So you have to unlock your potential, but you cannot unlock your potential by giving your responsibility away. It needs to come back to you. So the moment that I changed my attitude, now your attitude determines your conscious, what you think, what you feel, and what you do. That determines your attitude. So your attitude, immediately, the moment that I start talking to people, within 3 to 5 minutes, I know that person, I know their attitude, and I know where they're going to end up. Literally. Why? Because I've done it so many times.
Yes.
So I can tell you, by looking into your business, within 5 minutes, at what level are you out of the 7 levels that a business got? With listening to you, within 3 minutes, I will tell you on what level you are when it comes to your investment. And if you do not get in business to a level 5, you're going to be enslaved to the business, and you are promoting the system without knowing it.
Can we jump through the 5 levels, please? I would love to pinpoint myself where I am currently.
It's very, very simple. Can you move away from this business for 3 months, come back, and the business is running smoothly and it's giving you...
Not yet.
Okay, that was a level 5. So I'm not going to start with a level 7, which is ownership. This is CEO. You call yourself a CEO. You're not a CEO because you don't do the function of a CEO because you haven't got the time to do it. You're the managing director, but you can't be the managing director because you are not managing people. You're not managing systems. You are running around like crazy in order to kill fires. Yeah. So it's at least a level 4. Now, level 4 is the structure. The structure cannot operate unless there's a system. The function of the system is to take level 2, which is the money-making process, to take that and put that the money-making process into procedures and processes, into a system, and you teach the system to the right people. The moment that you've got the right people to run the system, it means that you're not involved in the system anymore. Now you're at the level 4. So the moment that you've got the right managers with the right systems, now I can leave this business, move on to level 5, where I can take a 3-month holiday, come back, or check that while I'm in Mauritius or wherever, and I see if this business is running, yes or no.
Got you, sir. Thank you.
Can you see?
100%.
So level 1 is the idea, the concept. Level 2 is the money-making process. And you'll find that people that think that they've got a massive business are actually missing out on the level 2 because they haven't got the skills in place in order to take that business to the next level. And they're not prepared to put in the time and the energy to calculate and to see what systems they need for each and every department. In other words, every single thing that you do in this business
to be systemized.
Has to be systemized. And then you get people to follow that system and people control to see that that is being implemented. If that is not implemented, that person must either be retrained or get out of your organization.
Yes.
Now, to do that, you have to look at what is your end goal. In other words, what kind of person? So in your recruitment process, you have to already start looking at, will this person tie in my culture, yes or no? If not, that person should not be, because that person is going to cause more harm because it's retraining. And if that person has got an opportunity seeker mindset or a conventional way, they're going to bring what they've learned from there and try to enforce it in your business. So unless you've got a system, there's no freaking way that you're going to move to the next level.
It took me a very long time and a lot of great people to counsel with, to help me realize that because for the longest time, a business is the system. With our company, you have a buying team. The buying team within themselves have a culture. That team runs on a system that's different from the culture and the system from the F&I team and the sales team and the after sales team. So you're 100% right.
But there should be an overall culture.
That's right.
So if those people do not fit into that culture,
yes,
you're going to have a problem.
100%.
Right.
But there's a subculture in each and every and every department as well.
Okay, so what's the solution? the solution is what we call the wealth creator strategy. And I'm going to give it and break it down for you quickly. I don't know if you've got time, otherwise I think we're done.
Absolutely.
Right. So the wealth creator strategy is the intelligent use of limited resources to go from where you are to where you want to be in the shortest possible time with the least amount of risk. Only 7 components. Right. So what's in a business or an investment, what's the biggest risk? The biggest risk is to lose money.
Yes.
It's money. Okay. Now, the moment that I give my money to someone else, can I control the risk? Yes or no? Okay. So how do I control the risk?
You keep the money.
I keep the money and I learn the skills.
Yes.
So there's only 4 skills. There's the mental, high-value mental skills, high-value income skills that normally people turn into high-value business skills. A business skill is when it's a level 5 plus. Otherwise, it's just a glorified one-man show, right? We call it a business and we say we are, but we are lying to ourselves. And then we take it from there to the investment, the surplus money into the investment. Now, I invest only in 3 categories. Actually 4. Myself, first of all, mentally to grow.
Most important.
Most important.
Agreed.
Secondly, into my business. Thirdly, into property, which I use as a security blanket. Very, very simple way to do a hell of a lot of things. And very small portion in crypto that gave me a phenomenal growth simply because I understand how it works. So by understanding how something works, there's a ruler's principle that we apply. Unless you understand something, you do not go into that field. Otherwise, it's going to cost you money. So only 4 skills. What do? I use that intelligently. The first part of the formula. Definition. Intelligent use of limited resource. So I have to use my 6 higher faculties of the mind in order to figure out what skills I need to learn. Why? Because the use, there's only 2 systems, there's only 2 strategies. The one is a conventional way, the other one is the wealth creators way. If you follow this, you can do what the hell you want and get the degrees that you want. You're not going to get out of the system. The moment that you use the other one, now I have to use it intelligently, which means that the conventional system cannot use it intelligently because they've never been taught to think.
How to do it.
To think.
To regurgitate, yeah. To get the degrees, yeah.
Not to think.
They are not there to think. They are there to be puppets, to stay in the system, to work for the system so that the system can get their energy. Right. Now it's used. Now, what do I need to use this intelligently? The 4th one, my limited resources. What's our biggest limited resource? Time. We've got 24 hours per day. How we use that is up to us. If I use it in the wrong way, I will not have the time to get to the intelligent because I'm too damn busy trying to sort out my life and to make a living and to make sure that I've got a salary. Right. So that is the first part. The second part is if you mentally not in the right place, if you have got the wrong investment attitude. In other words, if you do not have the mental capacity to take responsibility, to understand that it takes responsibility, time and effort in order to learn a skill, it's not going to work for you. But at the same time, you have to put in the effort to get the performance. So it's no good to have all the mental and dream about how you're going to retire and do I see people do these mindset courses and then and think that they're going to become rich.
The secret.
It's the biggest bullshit because there's performance. You have to attach the performance.
There's input. You need to give input.
But that performance needs to grow in conjunction with this in order to get to where you want to be.
Yes.
So it's intelligent use of limited resources. Now, another limited resource that we've got is our skills, our currency. What's your biggest currency?
Your ability to process, your ability to think, and your ability to make decisions.
It's your skills, your competency.
Skills.
Your competency.
Okay.
Your competency includes applied knowledge, experience.
Yes.
But it has to be applied. If it's not applied, you can't use it. Therefore, this becomes applied knowledge. So applied knowledge is if you've done it and you can prove it, then it's applied knowledge. Before then, it's information. And that information is based on the system because when you do a Google search, that's the information that they're going to feed you. If you go to an advisor, that's the information that they've trained to feed you because they've never queried the system. Right. Now, here's a trick. I can then use these 4 limited resources and convert it into a battery that we called hard currency. Rands, dollars, pounds, euros. The moment that you've got this is the first part of the process of investment or the process of starting a business or getting more income. The moment that I've got this in place, now I start with this, that takes me to the second level in a business, which is the money-making process. How do I use the money that I've made, that's mine, not the system's money, my money, and how can I grow that in order to help me to go to the next level? Because now you become the custodian of your business. It's not your business. The business is just the tool that you use, just like property is the tool that you use, just like cryptos. It's the tool that you use in order to let your money grow, because money cannot grow by itself. It is impossible. Money needs someone with the skills to grow it. You can take 100 rand and 100 rand, you put the 100 rand on top of the other 100 rand. In 20 years, Bobby, if you open that safe, there's only 2. It's not like cows and sheep and bullshit like that. There's 2.
They don't make babies.
There's no babies. There's no babies. This guy that says you have to let your money work for you. Money can't work. Money is money.
It's you.
It's your energy, your skills that grows the money. Now, once you've got the skill, once you become that person to get 100, 200, 500,000% or a percent growth, guess what? You can take no money. You don't need to go to the bank and you can grow it. So now I need to come back to that formula that I gave you. You need to know, but where are you? So the moment that you know, okay, I've got this job, I've got 100 rand or 1,000 rand or per month, then where do I want to be in 5 years' time? We set a goal, right? With that goal goes intent, because unless there's emotion, it's not a goal. Now that you've got the goal, you calculate it back and you say, okay, this is my growth rate. And I want to become successful. So what's a success? Success is a progressive realization of a worthy goal. So without a goal, you can't start the process.
Yes.
And it has to be a worthy goal, and you need to know your why. So now that I know that, I've got my benchmark. So how do I do that? To become successful, success, that progressive realization, it's a little bit by little bit by little bit. That's where you learn the skills, because I need to get the right information in the right order for the level of the game that I'm at, and then I have to apply it. Why? To see the results.
Yes.
The moment that I see the result, I measure it against my financial freedom growth rate.
Yes. Am I on track? Am I falling behind?
It's that simple.
If I am, take ownership.
Yeah.
Where have I failed?
Because now I can learn a skill. So we see problems as problems. A problem is the universe's biggest gift. Because it shows you where to grow.
Weakness. It shows you
It shows you haven't got that skill. Once you've got the skill, that problem disappears. In all 7 areas of your life. All 7. Not only finances. But it's easiest to explain it in the financial world because we understand plus and minus sums. Same with relationship. Same with your health. Same with everything in life. It works down to the same thing. Now, but to go from there to there takes time. We're in a space-time, the third dimension that we're in is space-time. So you move through space in time. This means when you understand this, the result will not be immediate. That's why I say in the shortest possible time. Right. Now, without taking any risk. So how do you not take a risk? By not using the bank's money. By not using other people's money. So I rely on my skills to get from where I am to where I be. Because in the process, I'm learning the skills, and therefore I can grow in the normal way. And everyone does not want to do it. Why? Because they want to get a paycheck and buy a house and get immediate gratification, because that's what the system has taught us. With one paycheck, with one payslip, they can buy a house or they can buy R1 million car. They haven't earned the right to have that car. But they want that bloody car because they want to brag and they want to post and they want to impress people that feels nothing for them.
Delayed gratification.
So unless you understand where you're going and then measure, there's no delayed gratification. This is also a bullshit story. Let me tell you why. If you know your path and you know what growth you must get, the moment that if I need 100% growth per year on the amount of money, and I've got 102%, there's no delay because immediately I am successful. I don't have to wait for 5 years. Everyone wants to wait for 5 years. I can check. Vincent, no. I can check on a week-to-week basis to see if I'm successful. And because I'm successful, guess what happens with my self-confidence? I can talk to anyone because I know that they cannot do what I'm doing financially. With push-ups as well.
With push-ups as well.
Yeah.
But, off camera, we discussed that I don't do push-ups. I push the earth away from me.
No, I do a push-up because that's how I exercise.
The system taught you the wrong way, so you need to push
No,
the
it's
earth away
not.
from
Because I can take a challenge on and show you that I can outperform you while you are fit.
I know you can. So
I'm
not going to
gonna
take
participate.
that. I know you
I'll
can.
be the judge.
I know you can. Sometimes, I consider myself a lion. When another lion walks into the room, I know that there's a different alpha that walked in. And I'm very comfortable being number 2 or 3 and learning from you. And learning from you. Very comfortable with my masculinity when it comes to a person with a proven track record. I'll never speak that way unless I know that there's a proven track record, which you do have, and it's an immense one.
You've got moral authority.
How do you handle a loss? Because
There is no such thing as a loss. What do you mean with a loss?
okay, I'll go one level deeper. To be so successful at making the sum, on a property, let me ask this. Have you ever bought properties where you've lost money on?
I've never lost money on a property.
Not on a property.
Never on a property.
Okay.
Course.
But the reason for that was simply because I was very, very fortunate at a very young age
to understand.
to understand the system.
sum.
Now, when I did the first time the calculation based on my house, this story that I just told
Yes,
you
sir.
was based on my house. So I had to turn my house into
So that was
investment.
you've got living experience.
I've got living experience.
Okay.
That's how I discovered this.
Okay.
So I
Understand.
was in this game. I was learning to become a certified financial planner, getting all these qualifications.
Buying your
and I
first
looked at
property.
my first property I bought. As soon as I got into the game, I bought my property. But then after a while, I started to query this because at a certain point in 84, as an example, the interest rates were 24.5%, the prime rate. In 87, it went up to 17, 18%, actually down. In 2000, it went up to 24% again. So I'm living proof that what happened and what's going to happen because people extend their standard of living up to the maximum.
Yes.
And that is where the problem, because they don't understand the risk and they don't know how to offset that risk. So let's get back to a loss. There can never be a loss if you learn from that loss.
Yes. You learn the lesson. So how do you
The
process
loss
it?
is there for you to learn the lesson.
How do you look at it? Because a lot of people...
Very simple, I do the calculation. So I'm helping a lot of my students. But now you have to make a decision. Is there a way that I can use this information? Because the only reason why you're not successful or the only reason why you've lost money is because when you make that decision, it was an irrational decision. You did not know how to do it. You did not understand it. Once you understand how to do it, now I can say, okay, I've got two choices. Either I turn this around or I let go of this because I can do another calculation and find a property that's going to give me or a business that's going to give me that I need.
The return.
And sometimes it's better to let go and say, okay, I cut it. I'm done. I've learned that lesson. It was one of the most precious lessons that I've ever learned in my life. It's better to make $1 million or a 10 million rand mistake than 100 million mistake.
Got you.
Because you're going to make that mistake if you haven't got the skill.
Yes.
At some time during your life, you're going to learn. That's the way that the universe wants you to grow. So there are 6 basic human needs, and the 5th need is to grow.
To grow.
So the universe is going to stimulate and force you, without you knowing, to grow. And that's why some people have got so many problems. And it's great. They should go on their knees and thank their creator for the problems. Because the creator is showing them where the hell you should grow.
There's the leaks.
But we don't want to do that. So the moment that you become grateful for that you are experiencing and learning, gratitude, sky high on the energetic levels. Blame and shame and flip and poor be, very low. You're not learning anything by saying, I've made a mistake, I'm never going to repeat this process again. You've lost right there. That is a loss.
Accept and move on.
Welcome problems and learn from them.
Well,
Welcome
that's
them.
why they are there.
Blessings
They are blessings.
in disguise.
Not in disguise, they're open. That's why you've got the bloody
Pick
problem.
them up.
Pick them up. See
That's
them
why
that way.
you've got the problem. But you have to become aware of the problem.
Yeah. And during, me and Vince are speaking, we're currently going through a situation, and I said to him, we on this bouncy road, we're not on the highway. It feels like at the moment with market and everything it's quite turbulent. We're driving next to the highway, but we're learning a lot. We didn't know about this. We didn't know about this. We didn't know about this. And the last 3-4 months has exposed a lot of new information that, once we fix this, because it's there. This is a problem. Now we can do this, or we can say, okay, how do we fix the problem? And once we fix the problem, smooth sailing again until...
To a lot of people, it's easy. They fill this with gin.
Luckily we don't drink.
They say,
Luckily we don't drink.
Problem solved. I've got no problem. Tomorrow morning, okay, I've got a more of a problem.
Even worse.
Give me 2 glasses.
No. Luckily.
No, tough times create strong people.
Yeah, my problem is how much coffee do you drink? It needs to show up on a drug test. That's how much
That
I drink.
is. So yeah, ultimately we all think that if you buy a property, you end up putting a lot more in, and this property is now costing you money. It's not an investment anymore. We end up paying rates and taxes, and you end up, especially if something goes wrong, because there's maintenance on this property. But at what point is this, and this is what you need to understand, and this is what I gathered from this, you need to understand the sum so that you can really buy into a property that is an investment and not costing you money. And that's where a lot of people make mistakes, because they most probably buy with their heart. They see what they love, they buy with emotion, but they don't buy with, no, this is an investment. They buy with emotion. So this is what I gathered from this. But I know you've got a question on how do I take 100 Rand and I make this 100 Rand into 500,000 Rand.
And
was that?
Yes, and on that note, Uncle Hannes, you said, you have to rewire. So you have to dump the software, the operating system that you've been programmed with from a young age. Sadly enough, it's sad, but it's true. But by your parents, if you come from a scarcity mindset childhood, and I've been fortunate. We grew up in an area where there was enough of everything. Got loving parents. I never came from a scarcity mind. Immigrants normally don't, because whatever is the situation, we're very grateful because it's better than where we come from, and there's a future here. The future looks bright. But dump that operating system and upload a new one that says you don't need to borrow money from the bank. If you take ownership and learn a certain skill to be able to understand the system and work not against the system, but work towards your goal, knowing where it is and understanding with instant gratification, am I progressing? Taking that mentality summed up as best as I could in the last few seconds, turning 100 Rand into 500,000 Rand. I know you've got that challenge. Please, more golden nuggets our way. How does that work?
All right, let's do that first, because I've also got a question. That's something, and I've mentioned a couple of times before, and I hate being part of the system. I hate being a normal person, and it's always something that I teach everyone around me, and even my child, is don't be the normal, be different. But I do something that really irritates me, and I pay for policies that I don't believe in. And every month, and I've said it before many times, I pay policies every month. And every month, if that money goes down, it's like, why do I do this? Why do I keep on? And I know it's because of that inner self here. Oh, well, you've lost so many money.
System.
Yeah, I've lost so many money by now. I'm just taking a chance. But actually, I know my brain is telling me, Anne-Marie, you're going to lose a lot more if you keep on paying that money. Stop paying that money.
Okay, how do you know that you are losing money?
I know it because
No,
there's a
no,
growth.
no. You see,
I'm
this is
gonna
where the
tell you,
problem comes in.
I don't know how to
The
do
moment
the
that you think you know, you're not open for any new information, because your subconscious mind, emotionally, you've already made a decision. I've lost money. My question to you is, how do you know that you're losing money? Compared to what?
Compared to, there's only a growth of 5%, but then comes into play inflation and tax.
Okay, so
whatever I'm
emotionally it
paying-
sounds that you're not making money. What if you needed only 3%?
True. I think
You see,
it's
it's our
maybe
perception. Perception is one of the higher faculties of the mind. If you don't know what the perception is relating to what you're talking about, it becomes emotional.
and that's maybe why I've just
You need
left
to
it
do
there.
the sum. You need to do the sum.
You need to do the sum. But before you do the sum, you need to know what your growth rate must be. What's your financial freedom growth rate, Annemarie?
Okay, I understand because I haven't
What's your
done
financial
it.
freedom growth rate?
No, gee whiz, I don't know.
You
Exactly.
see, that is where it starts. I'm here to try to help you and help millions of other people. They don't want to listen to this stuff because it means that they have to take responsibility, because now they have to calculate what is there.
We put
Once
our
you-
problem under a rock.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense. Why do you keep on? But the moment that you see this is what it's costing me, now I can start making informed decision. And compared to what? So once I know what I need to do, now I can make a better informed decision. But you can't make that informed decision unless you've got an alternative. Because what you're doing, you're getting 6%. If you've done nothing, you would get 0. Or the money would be gone. So
spend
these
it. At least
people
that
that are
that's
selling
something.
life insurance policies and endowment policies in unit trust, they are doing immensely good. I'm not against those people. I'm not against those people with what they know
With what
and to
they-
help the system to continue. But if you want to get out of the system, you can't continue doing that. But you can't do that unless you know on what basis. It has to come on your radar. You need to understand. So there's nothing wrong for the average person to go to a broker and to flip and invest in retirement annuities. But they know, the history tells me they're going to suffer. They know that. They know that. And that's why I've said right in the beginning, the person has to take responsibility. If you're not going to take responsibility, you're going to pay the price.
And responsibility also means I need to understand where I want to be.
Of course.
Okay, and I think that's why I say, and I know I'm one of those, and I'll admit it to say, sometimes you take a problem, and because you don't have the knowledge, you just put a brick or a rock over it. So whatever I've got the knowledge about, I take full on, heads on.
You see, you haven't got the knowledge, Annemarie.
But
That
on
is where
that,
the
I
problem
don't,
comes in.
I don't have it. I don't
Because
have
you
it.
don't know how to apply it. If you can't do it, you've got no knowledge. You can have all the degrees in the world. If you can't prove to me that you can do it, you haven't got knowledge.
I don't have it.
You've got the information. But now you are open because you become aware, flippant, I need to do something. But now the second thing is, do I really want to do it? Because it's going to take more time, it's going to take more effort, it's going to take more energy. I have to unlearn everything that I've done. Am I prepared to do it, yes or no? So if you do not know why you want to do it, you're not going to do it. You're not going to take the action to go to the next level because it's too difficult. The definition of success is, Earl Nightingale says, success is a progressive realization of a worthy goal. That's not the real definition of success. My definition for success is the ability to bear pain. If you cannot stand the pain, the universe rewards you for putting in the time to improve yourself as a person, to get to a higher energetic vibration. It's got nothing to do with the goal. It's by becoming the person that can make the goal a reality. If you're not that person, you do not deserve. The universe is 100% fair. You are exactly because of the decisions that you've made in the past. So you just reflect, where am I? Am I happy with where I am? I haven't made the right decisions. If that's where I've got a problem with this, or I'm facing this problem, now you've got a choice. Everything about life is choice. What am I going to choose? Am I going to insanity, is doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result? Or am I going to take charge of my life and change my destiny? Most people haven't got the guts to change, because that means they are going to become successful. And success is more than fear to keep people from doing stuff, because they've never been successful. They don't know how success operates. Most of them do not even have really successful friends.
Amazing and so true.
They are shit scared for success. They will say, no, I want this. No, they don't want it, because they're not prepared to do it.
And of course, it's the unknown.
Yeah, of course it's the unknown.
And it's in all areas
growth.
of your life.
In all 7 areas of your life.
Yeah.
In all areas.
Yeah. For me, hit home with weight when I spoke to your son-in-law, and he said to me, I'm going to give you the knowledge, exactly what to do, to the T.
It's his birthday today, by the way.
I'm going to wish him happy birthday.
Okay.
Nice. Shout out to Jock from Kaizen Wellness. Thank you for changing my life. And
well done.
and he said to me, and it hit home, he said, I'm going to give you everything, but it's not on me, it's on you.
You need to do
that.
that.
I'll help you exercise, but when I'm not looking, we've got a new saying between me and him. So how do you lose the weight? He said, you get good at hand to mouth coordination from whatever you take off the plate and put in your mouth. So and that's taking ownership, changing the destiny based on the information that you've researched and you've been given, and applying it is the difference.
It's in the application that you see the results.
Yes.
And you can't manage something unless there are results. So if you can't measure it, you cannot manage it.
Yes. And where I failed, I'll give a very short story where he caught me out. So we're doing a 12-week challenge, which was great success, 28 kilos. Then we set another goal for another 12 weeks between me and him. And I'm not hitting the target that he gave me. And he keeps asking me, he says, Pops, are you doing everything? I said, yes, I'm doing everything. He says, okay, week 2, we're not getting the result. And the one morning, your daughter's car needed to be serviced. So I said, okay, let's swap vehicles, and give me the car keys. Here's my car keys, and we'll swap later.
I can just imagine.
So he opens the door, and here's a protein bar, but a big one. He says, this? I said, no, it's not mine. I lied to him.
Was it the one that I bought?
Yes. No, I bought that on myself. I'm not going to blame you. I said, no, this is not mine. He says, well, who you driving the car? Whose is it? I said, okay, it's mine. He says, well, how many do you eat? I said, no, I eat one a day. For how long? I said, for 2 weeks. He says, but your calorie intake is worked out to 1,800 calories. I said, yes, I eat everything you tell me. I said, this thing is 400. So now we're at 2,200. That's why we're not getting the results.
Now, the same with your IGR versus your FFGR. It's exactly you can measure, you bring it down to the sum.
To the sum. I'm 40% over. He says we'll never get the result. I stopped chowing them once a day. 2 weeks later, we get the result. He's like, I can see you not eating. You don't have to, I don't need to open the car. But now and then, now I still do. I like them. Sorry, Jock. But yeah, exactly that. So if you have a few more minutes, the 100 Rand to 500,000 Rand.
Maybe I must tell you the story where and why it happens. I saw on YouTube on the 3rd or the 4th of November, what was it, 2021?
2 years ago.
2 years ago.
Okay.
A little bit more than 2 years ago. Right. Yeah, 21. I saw on a TV program on YouTube that a client gave 2 experts here in South Africa 500,000 each to invest on his behalf. The one guy says South Africa is bad. He's a broker, invested overseas. Very, very, very highly skilled people. He's a broker. Right?
Okay.
500,000, he said, I'm going to invest it overseas, and that's what he tells everyone. The second guy says, no, he's a fund manager. Also, an incredible person. These people are brainiac. I'm going to invest it here in South Africa. There's more than enough opportunity.
Okay.
So this client then proposed a challenge, and he says, let's see in 5 years' time who's going to be the best. I mean, it's logic. Overseas, this guy that splits it, blah, 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 or this guy that puts it in his fund that he controls. When I saw that, during this conversation, the one guy says, the reason why they're doing this is to train people and to educate people. And right there and then, I thought, there's no education. They are teaching people how to buy products. There's no teaching. There's nothing. They don't teach people because they don't know.
To think.
So I sent out to my database and my master, we've got a legacy mastermind group that on a week-to-week basis get together with the whole story. And I sent to them and I said, I'm also going to take on that challenge. So, but I'm not going to risk 500,000 because that client's risk is actually 500,000 plus 500,000.
It's $1 million.
There's no guarantee that he'll get a cent back.
Never
but he
mind
doesn't
the
know
profit.
it.
Never mind the profit.
Never mind the profit.
They could lose all the money.
They can lose all the
That's
money.
possible.
Or something is possible.
Yes, sir.
Or there's a probability that can happen.
Yes, sir.
So I said, what I'm going to do, I'm going to apply the wealth creator strategy, this that I just told you. And I'm going to start with 100 Rand and no security. 100 Rand. So within the first year, I want to turn the 100 Rand into 500,000 so that I can start the challenge. So I gave myself 1 year to apply the skills, in other words, mental skills, income skills, business skills, and investment skills to be able to do it. And then I'm going to take, and over that period of time, I'm going to outperform them based on the 500,000 Rand.
At the end of 5 years.
Yeah, 4 years later, with at least 100%. At least, but not only them. Every fund manager, every hedge fund manager, every broker, the best of the best in the world, with at least 100%. And based on my risk, there will not be a person, except my students, or people that understand how this works, that will outperform me. But no fund manager. And of course, on YouTube and on Facebook, there's a lot of happy, old man, you know, if all.
I call them keyboard ninjas.
Yeah, I love them.
Yes.
I love them because they inspire me to.
And this can't go. This is so amazing because it can't go wrong. You invested 100 Rand.
Okay, and
But you still
and the
gonna
truth is, I didn't invest 100 Rand. I invested 0. I used 100 Rand as the bait because people don't get it that you don't need money to make money. I've still got 100 Rand. I'm going to frame it.
Yes.
Right. So
may I ask, what did you do? Because it's over a year now. And did you?
we're only at 4.2 million at the moment.
And that was just over a year, basically.
Yeah. But then I said I'm going to try to get it to 20 million.
Uncle Hannes is playing it down. Hold on, please, sir. We're only at 4.2 million.
Yeah, I didn't want to say much
So-
because I'm trying to.
At 4.2 million from nothing. Okay. I'm not going to let you play that down. That's a big one, Uncle Hannes. Well done.
Yeah, the only reason I've got the skills.
Yes.
And understand,
What
anyone
skill
can.
did you apply for the 100 Rand
You see,
to make
Anna
the
Marie,
money?
You're not going to get it until you get it. The whole time I'm mentioning you what the skills are, but you don't get it.
You mentioned the
Mental
skills.
Income skill, business skill, and investment skill. Now those skills are broken down into smaller skills that make up the whole story. But I do not follow the way that the average person, by giving their money. I'm relying on my skills to generate income, turn the income into a business, turn the business into investment. The investment becomes a portfolio. So after 5 years, in my portfolio, I'll have whatever those guys have, the best one,
You'll have 100% more.
100% more, but I'm going to go for the 20 million just for the hell of it, just to piss off people. Am I going to get it? I've got no idea.
Yes.
Do I know
You're
what I'm
gonna
doing?
get it.
I've got no idea.
Yes, you do.
Am I enjoying myself?
Yes, you
Of
are.
course I
Yes,
enjoy myself. Right? And there's a lot of people that is learning. I've picked up 1 Rand on the 1st of January this year. We were busy camping. You can see there's a little video on it. And I saw that rand. We were busy camping with one of my great buddies. And when I saw it, I remember a challenge that I took on many, many years ago. And I thought, let me show my students in business how it works, right? So I went back and I said, Rudolf, come here, can you take a
video?
And then I had to search for the bloody rand. You can't believe, I knew where it was, but,
But
it
obviously
disappeared.
it can
Now
disappear.
suddenly the universe, whoop, back. I was getting panicking because
Panic.
I swear I saw that rand. Now I'm searching around. Now I've got it. I said, do you know, because he's older than me. Now this is freaking old. Okay.
So he's 33.
Yeah, he's 33.
Okay, good.
So I said, can you take a video? Okay. Yeah, you can. So I said, switches on. I said, I'm going to turn this 1 rand in a business skills. I'm going to turn it into 100,000 rand business. Right? And 40 or 50 seconds in Afrikaans. But then one of my students, Vaughan, I think you know Vaughan.
Yes.
Yeah. Vaughan says, no,
Very nice guy.
Manus, you can't do that. Is it per month? I said, Vaughan, yeah, it's per month. Okay? Now, within a year, take it from 1 rand to 100,000 rand per month after tax.
After tax.
Yeah, why not? Flip, we can do anything.
Good.
Right? Because it's a business skill that I apply, starting at level 1, 2, 3, 4. So I think over the next 4 years remaining, and by the way, that is going to help with the 20 million.
That's going to supplement it. Yes.
It's going to supplement it. So I'll have it at least at the level 4 business by that time.
Amazing.
And it's skills. And anyone can learn that skill on condition that you are prepared to let go. We call it the rainmaker skill. The rainmaker skill is, how do you start a business and can prove that you can start a business with no money, with no security. You cannot go to the bank, you can't go to the friend, you can't put security in order to get it. That guy that's sitting there, he has passed that test. That's why he married my daughter. Without that test, he would not have married my daughter. Because my generation that needs to come, he needs to transfer that knowledge to that generation. So that is my legacy. They're not my legacy. I'm done with them. They know what to do.
Beautiful.
This is so beautiful.
Beautiful. And Uncle,
Inspirational. And I think we've got lots to learn.
Uncle Hannes, if you are kind enough to, we want to provide our viewers the link to the Wealth Creators Academy at the bottom, where people can click through and join. You said the ability to bear pain. I'm going to be daring and say not the culture of the Wealth Creation Academy, but the cult, because it's
a Wealth Creators University. It's not the academy.
I'm sorry.
Okay, but it's not. It's actually the Wealth Creators method. I've got a university. The method is the strategy. How do you apply it in the 4 areas of the skills in order to be able to get to the end result? And to get on my database is actually very simple. There will be one of those challenges. It's a free webinar that I'm presenting where I take people through a 2 hours question and answer at the end of the day. And I think I've got 2 or 3 master classes at the moment. And then at the end of the day, they can ask me any question that they like. And then I do have a mentoring program as well as individual courses. The courses function is for them to learn the skills. Then I've got a legacy mastermind where on a Tuesday we get together and they can ask any questions to the team and we guide them through the process. I do not give advice. I guide them how to gain that skill and how to apply the skill and apply it in their lives, because that's a function of a mentor. A mentor's job is to empower that person so that he or she knows what to do without the help of someone else. So they do not rely on experts, because otherwise you step in, suddenly now you're the expert. That is the worst thing that you can ever do, is to get, and then we get experts to do the implementation of that. So I'm not going to do my own books or my own finances or prove this whole story. I have a team of auditors to be able to prove this that I'm busy with at the moment, because otherwise there's no weight in it. Does it make sense?
100%,
Makes
sir.
sense.
And this, it's the first time that I've said this on our channel and on this content. This is definitely one discussion that I don't think 10 times is enough. You have to watch it more than 10 times to get, I mean, it's not golden nuggets or golden bricks. It's golden,
Houses.
houses. And it was incredible. Thank you so much, sir. We really, really have learned a lot. I have been,
Really?
honestly
Yes.
have.
Are you
And
going to apply it?
Yes, sir.
Really?
I'm going to apply it, sir. Thank you so
Then
much.
I feel good.
Thank you so
Then
much.
it was worth my while. And I hope there's someone else. I know there's 100 people going to listen it, and one oak is going to, or gal is going to say,
This young
I
man makes
better
sense.
figure out what Womanus is trying to tell us.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then that journey is going to start.
And it's going to be a beautiful
It's
journey,
an
sir.
incredible, it's not easy, but it's an incredible, Bobby, the moment that you unlock your potential, the moment that you understand who you are, it's amazing. It's amazing when you know what you are capable of and what you were given before birth. And our job is to unlock that. That's all. We haven't got any other job. We need to become the best version of ourselves. But you cannot become that as long as someone indoctrinates you by telling you what to do. And even worse, when you do not know that they told you what to do.
That operating system
That operating system.
that most of us are walking around with. Thank you so much, sir. Really appreciate your time. Thank you.
My pleasure, and thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
thank you
Anne-Marie.
very much. I think I was very privileged to sit in with this interview. And this is definitely, I'll agree with you, definitely something that you need to relive. Someone off camera warned me and said, you need to take a notebook with.
Yes. Luckily,
And
our
now-
cameras work.
And obviously I couldn't sit here with a notebook, otherwise I would have been speechless. But this is something I will go through a couple of times, and I hope we're going to provide a lot of people with very valuable
know we will.
information.
I know we will.
I'll give them, if they attend one of those free webinars or masterclasses, there's a lot. I'll give them the link the moment that after they've attended the Quantum Awakening. It's a crash course mindset, how it works and why it works the way, and why we're not getting the results that we've got. I'll also give them the Power Goal book. I've written about Power Goal. You should never try to set a smart goal. It's the worst thing that you can ever do in your life. In other words, you have to set unrealistic goals. Those are the things that's really going to motivate you and drive you, and you need to know your why. But there's 5 steps that you'll have to take to go through that. I'll give them access to the Financial Freedom Planner so that they can do and know how to do their financial freedom growth rate, and to then use that as a benchmark for any ventures in life. And I also will give them access to a free download of my Formula for Riches. So the Wealth Creator strategy is the outline. The Formula for Riches is the formula, the 7 steps that you need to follow. And then the Wealth Creators method is where we apply and implement on a day-to-day basis or week-to-week basis how to get the growth. I'll give them on condition that they follow that link and attend one of the master classes.
Masterclasses.
Any of the master class, if that's okay with you.
That's so kind. Thank you so much.
Very-
I'm really excited about everybody that will have
Okay,
this
then in the
opportunity.
comment they have to say if they found value or not.
Yes, please leave us a comment as well as the like button, and
And please subscribe to our channel and ring the bell.
thank you very much. Have yourselves a beautiful day, and bye-bye.
Cheers.